Hey guys, video 201 here apparently. Quick update before we get started. The whole live stream thing of the Skylanders Giants build, I'm sorry I didn't full up to my promise and play them all right through 1 to 6 on the alpha builds, but realizing now that every single build basically has every level in the game in it, it would have taken me days to get that done. So I think over time, when I'm in the mood, I'm just going to start up a random stream at any point I feel like it and slowly push through all the alphas. If other stuff comes up in between, I'll make posts or videos or live streams about whatever the topic is on content. I have some other stuff I want to cover regarding Subnautica 2 situation, because I'm really starting to get pissed about that. But anyway, let's get into the actual reason I'm recording this. As I promised one of my best friends on YouTube, and I guess my sister, because she sees me as a big brother, as she said, I would show off my own physical toy collection, as she showed off her LPS to me. And I didn't really want to comment about how amazing it was, but I'll say that now because, you know, I wanted to, but I also wanted to be able to show this off. Anyway, we'll get into it, and this won't be very thorough. Also, I don't have editing skills, so there won't be any cuts. If I do rewatch the video and find some areas that are of no interest, I'll leave some time links down in the comments to cover interesting parts of the video that won't, like, bore you to death. But anyway, we'll get into it. Starting off at the very bottom, here we've got the actual things you need to play the games. You've got the portals. This one doesn't have a cord like the rest of them do, but more or less. So how it works is each of the individual characters has something called an NFC chip in them, and what the portal would do is it would read the NFC chip and send the information into whichever game you're playing. And if the NFC chip lined up with the game that you're playing, like if you use a Giants character on Giants or a Skylanders Spyro's Adventure character on Spyro's Adventure, it works. But you could also use like Spyro's Adventure characters in all the other games like Giants and above. If you used a character from Giants, you couldn't play Spyro's Adventure with that character unless under specific circumstances, which requires you to mess around with files, which is not easy to do on console anyway. Next up, really quickly, we've got the magic items, adventure packs, and other stuff, which there is one thing, part of that collection I don't have, but I'll look into getting it if I can get it at affordable pricing. We've got stuff like the magic shield and that. These are more or less just generic things that can help you throughout the game that were there when the game was made to be easier, because obviously the games were designed for kids, so nothing was supposed to be really easy for anyone. As well as that, you had these. Stuff like this, which were bigger ones. They could be used as weapons in levels, but they also unlocked extra levels in their respective game. And the Spyro's Adventure ones unlocked the same levels in Giants, because the way that Giants was developed, it used Spyro's Adventure as a baseline, so a lot of the code was kind of ripped and pushed into it, which allowed the levels to stick around. Stuff like that. You've got before the fourth game, these were the minis. They basically acted as magic items that could follow around the player. More or less, their main purpose, literally there was none until the fourth game, where no matter which mini and no matter which game you got it for, you could place them on the fourth game and above portal and they become playable characters. Now, the fact that these were developed before the fourth game, when the characters could save their information, I don't understand how the NFC chips are able to save that information in Trap Team and above, but kind of interesting to think about. Next up, we have the elements. So really quickly, when the games first came out, there were 8 of them. And basically, as a collector, as well as collecting each individual character, you try to collect all the characters in a single element. Just to make this really easy for people who don't know what Skylanders is, but knows what Spyro is. These games were made by the same people who made the Spyro games, and the first game was supposed to be a continuation of the Spyro story, but it didn't really end up living up to that like promised. So, they had Spyro as one of the very first characters you'd ever get, because if you bought the very first game or the special edition starter pack for the third game, you would get a Spyro figure as part of your collection, which kind of just helped with familiarity, I guess, to kind of push Skylanders into the eyes of other people. I didn't really remember, but apparently I used to play a lot of Skylanders as a kid. Spyro as a kid, which could explain why I like Skylanders so much. Next up, really quick, during the fourth game, there was a whole gimmick where you could defeat certain enemies and collect them by trapping them in these traps. more or less each one would be a certain element, and you had to catch an enemy with the same element trap, which would allow you to play as them and complete missions and all that. So that was kind of interesting. There's a lot of them, as you can see here, and then there's the special ones I have on this second floor, because I bought both. Still, because there's 2 starter packs usually to every game except for the last 2 games. And oh no, sorry, no, that gets confusing. I'll come into that later. Anyway, you've also got basically like each element here, which I'll just do a quick I'll go over. I know you can recognize this and the darker one. This is called the Clown Crew. Guess you know what this is. This during the 5th game in the series, Nintendo's specific builds of the game had Bowser and Donkey Kong as playable characters, so their vehicles made it into the game as well. They also had a unique thing where usually where a character would be made, their vehicle would have the same element. The Skylanders from specifically Superchargers, for example, when you got Donkey Kong and Bowser, their vehicles would actually be a different element to themselves, which was kind of interesting. This was a unique gimmick only exclusive, and there is something else I'll go over when I get to it. But so you've got the tech element here. You've got the air and the magic element. You've got the life element. You've got the traps, the magic items and the portals, the water element, the earth element. You've got the undead element. You've got the fire element, which are the 8 original elements in the game. But as for light and dark elements, which are added later, more or less, those games specifically, because there were so little of them, I didn't really have space on this small shelf for them to have their own elements. Those are, if ever I move or something, I can carry all the traps in them. Those are like containers. I've got a few extra Skylanders and exclusive stuff up here. That's from collectibles. What else? There isn't much else. Oh yeah, so quickly, these were part of the very last game. The whole gimmick for these was you would be able to basically create your very own Skylander with pre-built stuff into the game, which was kind of interesting. Hang on. I don't know if that's supposed to be there. Anyway, yeah, so you could basically create your own Skylanders with these creation crystals. And it was a really interesting concept just for the final game, which kind of gave you a little more creativity. Now, the last thing is, as I'll show you here, although these, the Bowser and the Donkey Kong could be Skylanders, obviously, because they needed to actually be played on the Skylanders game, you could switch their NFC chips out for a second one that was hidden inside of each character that would allow you to use them as amiibos in Nintendo-based games as well. Since the Skylanders were programmed to only work on the Nintendo versions, and the Xbox and PlayStation versions of Superchargers and Imaginators did not allow them to work, because, you know, it's an exclusive thing, and if you know Nintendo, you know Nintendo. Ain't much else to cover. Like, there's a lot of detail, but I won't go into it because it'll make it a long and boring video that I'll be recording, and this thing will end up being like 2 hours long. That's more or less it. So much more information I can cover in detail, so if anybody wants, just leave a comment. Let me know if you want that. Whatever else you want. And honestly, if there's like Skylanders or content on a video game or anything that you might want to know more about, I'm more than willing to sit down and learn about it and explain it to you. But that's about it. Quick shout out to LPS Gamer, because they are the person who I was actually making this for. And I'm really, really excited to have them comment on this video. So if you're LPS Gamer, you know who you are. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my collection. And yeah, thanks for asking for me to make this, because it's actually really exciting to talk about my special interest with you. You're kind of really important to me as a person. Hope everything's going well. Hope your LPS collection grows, and I hope that you get some good sales on the ones you're currently getting rid of, so you can get the ones you don't have. Also, I know I don't think you've been clicking on them, but the links I've been leaving in your posts and comments recently and videos, those are links to eBay listings on Skylanders, which is the thing I'm collecting here, and they're really high-priced ones. They're not just some ridiculous one-offs, by the way. Those are usually the average prices of those specific Skylanders. And if you see them as any cheaper, they're usually some form of a scam, which is really bad and really stupid. I'll be seeing you all around, and yeah, catch me in the comments, because with the small number of people who watch my videos as of lately, you know, I guess it'll be easy to catch your comments and leave a reply, a like, whatever it is. There's really nothing else. I don't know why I'm rambling. I ramble a lot. Just give me a second to think. I don't think there's anything else to cover. No, you've really more or less seen how they work on the live streams. And if you haven't been on the live streams, then maybe just look it up real quick, because I don't feel like booting up my computer just to show you again. Thinking about it, LPS, if you saw any single character that you really, really liked, describe it in the comments for me, and I will I will pull that specific character out, and I will name it after your YouTube channel account. Which one? Because I know you have multiple, you get to pick. But yeah, have a good day, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. That is my current collection, and it is to grow if I start making enough money to finish it. But that's going to be expensive, so we'll see.